Hello everyone and welcome back to my F122 My Team career mode for the Japanese Grand Prix today. Heading into this one, unfortunately we have had yet more technical issues in the recording of this video. Namely, one of the video files got corrupted, so I don't have any footage from qualifying through to the first couple of laps of the race. I was able to record the start of the race once again from the replays, but there was no way I could go back and redo qualifying, so yeah, qualifying is lost forever. So I might as well just say it now. We qualified down in P18, and yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough race from there at Suzuka. It's a difficult circuit to overtake, not impossible, but nonetheless it's going to make our day pretty tricky. We're doing the Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge now. It's another drift one, so we were able to pass this one relatively easily despite spinning straight away off the start, and that gets us the full 100,000 acclaim. I mean 100,000 credits and 1,000 acclaim. I keep saying those the wrong way around, but yeah. So from here, I don't really have anything else to show other than to go straight to the grid sequence, which I recreated using MS Paint. So let's go take a look at where everybody is starting this race. On pole position we have Carlos Sainz with his old teammate Lando Norris starting alongside. On the second row we have Sergio Perez alongside Fernando Alonso, with Ocon and Leclerc sharing the third row. Row 4 we have Max Verstappen and Alexander Albon, and rounding out the top 10 we have Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda starting inside the points at his home race. Through various grid penalties we are elevated up to P11 with Kevin Magnussen alongside, and behind us Oscar Piastri and Mick Schumacher. Starting in P15 will be Pierre Gasly, followed by Sebastian Vettel alongside. P17 goes to Lance Stroll, with Valtteri Bottas alongside. Zhou Guanyu lines up in 19th position alongside Lewis Hamilton, who's been penalised all the way down to P20, just one place ahead of his teammate George Russell in P21, and Nicholas Latifi rounds off the grid. In terms of strategy for the race, the weather will be clear. It's a 53 lap race. We'll be starting on the soft compound tyres. We'll run them to lap 13, where we'll make our first pit stop onto another set of softs. We'll run them to lap 26, so another 13 laps, where we will make our second and final pit stop onto medium compound tyres, which we will run to the end of the race. Most drivers starting on the softs, with the exception of Kevin Magnussen alongside us. He's starting on the hard tyres, and the two Mercedes cars towards the back of the field will be starting on the mediums. So with all of that said, let's get into the race. Alrighty then, so here we go to the 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. And it's a fairly decent start for us. Great start by Yuki Tsunoda. He covers us off straight away, and we have no opportunity to make a move into the first corner. We'll have a look around the outside. We might get there actually, a little bit off circuit to the left hand side, but we'll keep the nose in all the way around. Getting a little bit forced out wide there by Max Verstappen, and Daniel Ricciardo slips back through as well, but we've gained a couple of spots. We're up into 9th position now, so it's been a fairly decent start to this Japanese Grand Prix, as we now work our way through the S's for the first time. Bit of an awkward line there, and a bit of a moment on the exit, but we managed to hold on and keep the other drivers behind us. It's Yuki Tsunoda right behind us at the moment, putting the pressure on. You can see we're defending a little bit, went a bit deep there into the second Degner, and again going straight to the defensive into this very slight right-hander, into the heavy braking zone, into the hairpin, leaving the door open there on the inside. Little trick I've picked up at this circuit, because it makes it very difficult for the car behind to get a run on you towards Spoon if you just leave that little bit of open space on the inside of the previous corner. Here's a replay of the start, and it was a perfect start from pole position by Carlos Sainz. Lando Norris from P2, an awful start. He's already down to 4th. Alonso up to 2nd from 4th, and he's gone wide and dropped back to where he started, down to 4th position. Fernando Alonso, brilliant start, and throwing it away immediately. What a shame for Fernando Alonso. Just a slight mistake there, and yeah, a little lock-up I think caught him out. here's the start on board with Lando Norris, and just no power down for him. The car weaving all over the place as he's trying to keep his position. Doesn't work out for him. Fernando Alonso makes his own mistake, which allows Lando back up into P3. Here's the start from Alonso, and you can just see how much better it was. It was probably equally as good as Sainz off pole position. Perfect start for the two Spaniards at the front of the field, but yeah, then the mistake immediately at exit turn 1. So yeah, that was not ideal for Fernando Alonso. Here's the start on board with Sergio Perez, who started in 3rd position, immediately grabbed 2nd with Norris's poor start, and then Alonso went blazing on past, and yeah, you can clearly see the lock up there from Fernando Alonso, and yeah, that was a costly mistake for him. Here's the onboard with Esteban Ocon. He was the driver with the best view of all this. He almost had a run around the outside Lando Norris, but ultimately didn't have anywhere to go, and he was very nice to his teammate there. He definitely could have filled that gap and sent his teammate wide, but he chose to side with the team on this one and make it easy for his teammate. Meanwhile, we go on board with Yuki Tsunoda. He's trying to make the move down the inside of us at the beginning of lap number 2, side by side through the first curve, and we're going to hold our position around the outside. Tsunoda has to try again another time. Meanwhile, we have Charles Leclerc fighting away with one of the Alpine cars. That's Esteban Ocon, and Charles Leclerc gets through, and Max Verstappen is up next behind Ocon, and it won't be long surely before the Red Bull makes its way past. Meanwhile, we're under fire from Yuki Tsunoda, who's trying to make the move around the outside. Nice switchback though, and he's going to drive all the way around the outside of the Casio triangle and get the move done. Well done, Yuki Tsunoda. That was a fantastic overtake, and we just do not have the pace to run with him at the moment. And yeah, we are really under a lot of pressure. Alex Albon looking up the inside now as well, but we're able to hold him off. Here's the onboard with Albon. He was actually very close to making that move, got all the way down the inside, and then decided against it at the last moment. But we left the space for him just in case he was still going to think about sending it. But anyway, here we go once again, and this time he does get well clear of us. We duck back into the slipstream. Can we make a re-overtaking move down the inside? Yes, we can. Albon on the brakes mega early there. I don't know what that was about. But regardless, as we went a little bit deep on the exit, we got the move done and moved ourselves back ahead of Alex Albon as Pierre Gasly now joins the fight. And we go on board now with Pierre Gasly. He goes for the move down the inside into the Degners. Nice switchback though. And we get the position back under the bridge now at the other side. And we are back ahead of Pierre Gasly. So we're able to hold him off there, but he's still fighting away on the inside of the hairpin, but we still managed to hold him off. So yeah, we definitely just don't have the pace of the cars around us, especially at the AlphaTauri. He's looking very quick here at the home circuit, of course, for Honda, the engine supplier, or well, it's a rebadge Honda as Red Bull, but you know, it is still very much a Honda engine, and they will be wanting to extract the most out of those power units here as we make a bit of a mistake on the exit of the Casio triangle.
Try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could still regain the position.
And now we're getting absolutely swamped. There's cars going everywhere behind us, but we still got the slipstream from Gasly, and we send it into the first corner. We're able to get back up the inside and re-overtake Pierre Gasly with the help of the slipstream there. Very effective along the straight, and seems our straight line speed is actually pretty decent here. So yeah, we are working well around this circuit, at least on the straights, as we're struggling a lot out of the Casio triangle. And once again, we're going to be under fire here from Pierre Gasly, and he goes to the outside this time. We're going to hold him off though on the inside line. It's a lot of easier place to defend if you can position the car right, but sometimes there is no correct place to be if the car behind just has too much pace. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc makes a move on Fernando Alonso and gets himself up ahead of the other Alpine, Max Verstappen, not making the same progress so far, but Charles Leclerc making a charge through the field at this stage as Mick Schumacher is off the road. He was behind us, but he's found himself beached, and yeah, I think he was trying to look for an overtake around the outside of the first Degner, and then just sort of drove himself straight into the sand trap, which is unfortunate for Mick Schumacher, and that sent him down tumbling to the back of the field, unfortunately. So that's a shame for Mick Schumacher, as we now run side by side with Pierre Gasly all the way up the hill through the S's, and we hold him off, but yeah, we really don't have the pace. And Gasly's gone and done the same thing. He's in the gravel trap as well. That is 2 in a row. And Pierre Gasly will be fuming because he had a very good pace, as did Mick Schumacher. And yeah, that was a silly mistake. There was no overlap. We didn't force him out there. It's a mistake he made on his own. And he's just driven himself out there into the sand. And
that was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
Yeah, it's building sandcastles with the world's most expensive bucket and spade.
Alright, we'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left.
Anyway, we've been in and out of the pits for our first stop. We're on another set of the soft compound tyres. The reason we were losing so much pace at the end of that previous stint is because the tyres were overheating rather significantly. So we're going to need to try to take care of these, but at the same time we do need to press on and try and maximize the grip that's available while we have it. I sense there is a points opportunity today, but it really depends on how strategy plays out. So yeah, we just have to wait and see. But if we have a clean run, I think we may have points on offer. We move ourselves up eventually into 13th position as everyone else makes their stops. So we've lost out a little bit, and I think those 3 positions are to Magnussen and the 2 Mercedes cars who are going long in this race. Speaking of Magnussen, he's holding off one of the Mercedes cars at the moment, so Kevin Magnussen is doing a pretty good job in this race, considering he's on the hard compound tyres. So we eventually move ourselves up into P12 when Magnussen makes his one and only stop from the hards to the mediums. He'll be probably running those for the rest of the race. And that stint was completely uneventful. We barely saw another car. And we come into the pits for our second stop. But unfortunately at this stage of the race, I started to realise that a lot of people are on one-stop strategies. So yeah, unless we do some serious overtaking, we're really not actually in a very good position at all, because we were outside of top 10 and we just made our second stop, and we're down into last position now, as we're trying to fight away with Mick Schumacher, and he's going to make the move all the way around the outside, and he'll get that done as we get a little bit of grass on the tyres, and yeah, we just couldn't hang it through there anymore, and Mick Schumacher gets through. So we're down into P22. So it's not a great place to be. I think a few people will definitely have pit stops left to make, but it's yeah, not looking particularly grand for us at the moment. But we'll continue to push on. We'll see what we can do. Big lunge down the inside of Mick Schumacher. Huge lunge actually, but we get the move done cleanly. No contact made, and yeah, we're able to push on and try and make some more overtakes. Oscar Piastri comes into the pits, and that elevates us up into P20. So Piastri's race hasn't been a great deal better than ours, or worse, I should say. But yeah, it's not gone his way either, as we go for the lunge down the inside, and we make the move stick on Pierre Gasly. And we seem to have alright pace. Gasly on the hard compound tyres now, and that's the key. A lot of these drivers on one-stop strategies are on hard compound tyres now. So as Gasly actually got a bit on the grass there on the entry, as we were both locking up deep into that corner, but we both got through with no damage. Now Mick Schumacher seems like his race was doomed from the start. He retires with a mechanical failure. That's unfortunate for Mick Schumacher. Yeah, pretty decent pace until that mistake, but He was never ever going to make it to the finish anyway. It's all for naught. Huge lunge now down the inside of the Williams car there of Alex Albon, and we get the move done on them.
Moved ourselves up into P18 with that.
And yeah, up into 18th. That's a very late braking maneuver, but we get it done, and we get that done very nicely indeed. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Charles Leclerc is continuing his charge. He's up into third, now making the move for second on Sergio Perez, and he's got through, I think, down the inside. They're going to keep fighting it out, but Leclerc is through, and he takes second position and makes it a Ferrari 1-2 as Carlos Sainz continues to lead. So Ferrari dominating here at Suzuka. This track very much suiting the package they've brought. Meanwhile, we've caught up to the other Williams car of Nicholas Latifi. We go for another big lunge down the inside of the Casio Triangle. It's becoming a very popular overtaking opportunity for us.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
And yeah, we are making our way back through the field. We're still down in 17th position though, so we're still nowhere really in terms of any potential points. We continue to make positions. We go for a move around the outside of Zhou Guanyu. We can't get it done there. We have a look around the outside again. Nothing to do there. So after about 15 switchbacks, we might actually be able to do something here along the run towards the first corner, sitting in the slipstream. Now we go to the outside, and once again we'll try the outside move all the way around the outside of turn 1, a little bit wide, but we will get the move done nonetheless and move ourselves up another position into P15. So someone else must have had an issue or a pit stop that's elevated us up one more place. But regardless, we're into 15th position now, as Charles Leclerc is now on the back of his teammate. So Charles Leclerc could be taking race victory here. He's caught up to Carlos Sainz. Can he make the move anytime soon though? Sainz goes wide. A mistake from Carlos, and Charles Leclerc gets through, takes the race lead, and he has completed a drive from, I think, 7th on the grid up to 1st. Fantastic stuff by Charles Leclerc. And with the race lead and all the pace he has, I don't think there's any stopping him today. They're getting close to the end of the race. Still a fair way to go. Here's the onboard with Charles Leclerc to see exactly how that played out. There was a lapped car on the right. Didn't really play a factor. Blocked Charles Leclerc in though, so he couldn't make the move into turn 1. But a lock up from Sainz mid-corner there. And that's the only invitation Charles Leclerc needed to get through down the inside and into the race lead. Exactly what Fernando Alonso did on the first lap of the race, as Carlos Sainz did just there. Now we are getting lapped by Charles Leclerc with the lack of pace we've had in this one. It's yeah, not been a particularly fruitful race, unfortunately, as Carlos Sainz gets past us as well.
You've got P15.
And we were keeping up with Bottas in terms of lap times, but he was on the hards and we were on the mediums, and our tyres ultimately started degrading more. And that's Tsunoda with an off, exactly the same as what Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz have been doing. And Tsunoda as well makes that mistake, and that allows Lewis Hamilton through in the Mercedes. So Tsunoda drops from 8th position to 9th, though with the Mercedes behind. I don't know if that position was ever gonna be able to stay in that position, as we let Sergio Perez go through as well. And I think that should be all the blue flags we have to deal with in this one. Actually, I'm not sure who's running in 4th position at the moment, but I think the top 3 are well clear of the rest, as we now look at Yuki Tsunoda once again with George Russell behind, and he makes exactly the same mistake and allows Russell through. So there's clearly something going on with that first corner. Drivers are making a lot of mistakes there, a bit of oil on the road or something, but whatever it is, a lot of drivers struggling with that section of the circuit when the pressure comes from behind. But Yuki Tsunoda still running in the points here, so he can still bring home something from his home race. Meanwhile, as we head now onto the final lap of the race, another mistake from Alonso, and that's allowed Verstappen through, and Max Verstappen takes a position. Alpine were having an absolutely fantastic race. Alonso spoiled that slightly there, dropping a position, and he might actually drop another one here because Daniel Ricciardo is right on him. But Alpine were running very, very high up the field, and I think they were 4th and 5th, or 5th and 6th or something. But yeah, they've lost one of those positions now, unfortunately for them. But anyway, that is how it goes. Looks like Alonso's managed to stabilise the situation as Charles Leclerc comes around the final corner and he's going to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Great drive from Charles Leclerc to lead a 1-2 finish for Ferrari. Fantastic stuff by the Monegasque driver, and Carlos Sainz doing his side as well as we come across the line to take P15 at the end
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
of what is a pretty tough race. And we come crashing back down to reality after the lofty heights of the previous episode. But that's the way it goes.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. What do you think it was today, Ants, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Well, it's a fantastic drive from Charles Leclerc to go from 6th to 1st. Carlos Sainz makes it a Ferrari 1-2, finishing in 2nd place, with Sergio Perez scoring some good championship points in 3rd.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. This result then narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, for me it's got to be Lewis Hamilton. The multiple world champion may be the boring choice at this point, but you can't argue that he's a driver deserving of his reputation.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, I think we were ultimately on the wrong strategy in this one. Looking at the top 10, everyone was on a one-stop with the exception of Lando Norris. I called him Daniel Ricciardo towards the end of that race, my apologies. But the McLaren behind Fernando Alonso, that was indeed Lando Norris. He was on a two-stop, and despite the fact he dropped a few places off the start, that was only from 2nd down to 4th and then eventually up to 3rd after Alonso went off, but he ended up down in 7th making a two-stop, so even for him it didn't really work. And Yuki Tsunoda also made a two-stop, so it probably, for him, it might have been the beneficial strategy because we were behind him for so long holding up everyone else, so no one could really jump him other than the two Mercedes cars which were on one-stops. They obviously overtook him towards the end of the race just with pace. So yeah, the two-stop strategy just wasn't the one today, I don't think. But anyway, top 10 finishes. Obviously we just saw the Ferrari 1-2 ahead of Sergio Perez. Esteban Ocon finishes in 4th position. Great result for him. Max Verstappen P5. So losing points to his main championship rivals. We'll check that out in a moment. Behind Max Verstappen, obviously Fernando Alonso. We saw that battle play out just ahead of Lando Norris. Then the two Mercedes cars of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. And Yuki Tsunoda taking home the final points at his home race. Well done, Yuki Tsunoda. The fastest lap of the race goes to Charles Leclerc. No surprise there, he was absolutely rapid throughout that one. In terms of the Drivers' Championship then, Max Verstappen of course still leads the way, but only 25 points now ahead of Charles Leclerc, who moves back up into 2nd position, and Sergio Perez sits 3rd, 29 points adrift. So it is very much all still to play for, and Lando Norris once again overtakes Ricciardo in the championship points in the McLaren inter-team battle. Those two are swapping every round it seems. In terms of the team's championship then, Red Bull still lead the way The gap has come down though, 69 points now to Ferrari. We still sit in P6, but with Alpine having a great day, any hope of catching them is now just about lost. So yeah, it looks like this will be the maximum we can achieve this season. So that's still a very high position, of course, with the race victory in the previous episode being easily the highlight of the season. I don't think we'll be able to top that, but yeah, that has made our season look a lot better than what it truly has been. And yeah, we now get a reality check here in Japan where we don't have anything to help us out and no strategic advantages we can make, and well, a fairly bad strategy overall, and it was a tough day at the office. But anyway, it goes that way sometimes, and we will hopefully have a stronger race next time. Anyway, I've been talking for way too long, so let's get into the HQ stuff. So straight away as we get back to the HQ, we get a general wear upgrade, a durability upgrade, and I believe that is from the engine supplier itself, not an upgrade we have actually purchased. We have enough time before the next event to do every single available activity. We continue to adapt to more components ready for next season. We have saved most of them by now. So we continue through the timeline. I only just realised I forgot to mention anything about the new livery for this round. As always, I've been changing it every single round, and this round is no exception. I just totally forgot to mention it at the start because normally I do that in qualifying, but I lost that bit of footage, so I never thought to actually bring it up. But yeah, of course, that is a thing we have continued to do, is change livery every round. We'll only need to do 4 more liveries for the rest of the season, which is good because I'm starting to run out of ideas. I don't have a lot of different templates to work with, so yeah, there's repeating templates a lot now, but regardless, we continue and we head towards the next race as we continue to go through the timeline, ticking off all of these activities, more resource points coming in, and we're just adapting as many upgrades as we can. I think we'll get them all done before the end of the season. With the number of rounds left, we don't have enough resource points to do any more adds to them. Well, actually we can do that one, so okay, we can do some more, just not the one we were looking at a moment ago. But yeah, I've been working through them systematically to make sure I don't miss any. But yeah, we can do that one, so we might as well just get that out of the way. But anyway, that is going to bring this...
We need you to step in
Oh,
and make an
not
executive
quite yet. We
decision
have
here.
a department events first. So let's see. The extra sim time is needed after we lost some sim data. So we can either get the aero department to do it, or we can get Oscar Piastri to do it. If we get Piastri to do it, that will be a -5 to focus. And if we get the aero department to do it, that will be a -10% to their morale. And I think we will get the aero department to do it. We need Piastri at his best, and we don't actually need the aero department for quite a while because we've already actually adapted all the aero parts for next season, and we're not going to be buying any more because then we have to buy them and then adapt them, and it's just a waste of resource points. We might as well spend them on the power unit, which, you know, are upgrades we can actually keep into next season if we're going to upgrade anything. So yeah, we are going to make the aero department do that, and that will be that. So yeah, with that said, I don't think there's too much else left to cover, so I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments as well, it's very helpful. And oh, actually, we have one more thing to do. We're going to purchase an upgrade to the marketing department, the sponsor relations, so we get a claim a little bit faster. Anyway, so yeah, that was the final thing. But other than that, that is all. So yeah, as I was saying, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.